would you, for Harden, get him now? Why would you, if you're Miami, trade Tyler Hero for him? I wouldn't do that in a million years. I wouldn't do it in a million years. No thanks. And I heard in New York, all NBA teams know what's going on with Harden. They might not have known the inner details that are in this Tim McMahon story on ESPN that we keep referring to. They may not know the exact, moment where Westbrook and Harden were upset at each other and how they were upset at each other. And the same thing with Chris Paul and Chris Paul's demands on D'Antoni that fell on deaf ears, and that created the issue with Paul and Harden wanted him out, and they obliged, and they got Russell and all of that business. Those minute, small details may not be known. But, NBA front offices know when a player, usually flies off to Vegas or has the, optionality, to use the phrase, of going somewhere in between expanded days off and things of that nature. I mean, they know that. And they know how hard charging somebody is if they're partying. They also obviously see Harden show up and ball out. So if I'm somebody, though, I would, really, would you bring somebody who loves to go out and hit it? And at some point when you turn 35, 36, I can personally attest as a 51-year-old, I'm not a world-class athlete. These things will catch up. They will.
For sure.
So you will want to bring somebody on that by age 35, 36 is going to be making a ton of money, might break down potentially, physically. You'll bring that person to South Beach? Honestly, if you're the Knicks, you're going to go all in because you do need to make a splash when Durant and Kyrie are winning all these games across the East River. You bring Harden in the city that never sleeps. That's the phrase of the Big Apple. You'd have to think twice. Here's the sound. Here's the soundbite that we were referring to moments ago.
James, what was the point that you were trying to get across when you went to Atlanta and Vegas when training camp was starting?
I was just training.
What were you training for?
The start of the NBA season.
How did going to Atlanta and Vegas help you there when the Rockets were starting training camp in Houston?
Just my personal trainers.
Okay. No, again, and obviously that's a particular particulate in telling us that it's raining. I mean, we obviously know part of the reason
videos.
No, I know
pictures.
that, but I'm sure
he posted.
But if you're somebody who can go out and party, like that, and then perform at an absurdly high level.
Right.
That's part of your process. That's not so why would you think that's a bad thing? Right. I can get an extra weekend with my personal trainers, and literally he's been living his life cake eating and having the world too. That's literally what he's been doing. And he's made an absurd amount of cake in that process. So why should he feel this is anything wrong? I'm just thinking that at some point, the sands run through the hourglass, and that's going to catch up to you. Suddenly, that way of living will no longer be the manner in which you can also ball out. And do you want to be the organization that's on the hook for gajillions of dollars when that moment hits? We're still waiting for the diminishing returns moments for Brady and stuff like that. He doesn't live, he's not partying or anything like that. But I'm just saying that it's rare for an older athlete to continue to keep balling out at such a high level that you do need a certain, Brady would not be playing at age 44 right now if it wasn't for the TB12 method, right?
Right.
That the way Breeze does what he does, he's not going to be the organization's hope to beat the Kansas City Chiefs if he's not going through the regimen that he's constantly living 24/7, 365. So do you want to be on the hook, just if you're Pat Riley, to win maybe this year and next, when you can be winning with Tyler Hero long after he's retired, when he's Miami Heat front office emeritus? Why would you do it? I don't know. Again, I'm also the guy that wouldn't break it up for Giannis, and you're hearing everybody else is breaking everything up for Giannis or was planning to. So,
are we overvaluing Tyler Hero a little bit? Like, you're saying, no, you wouldn't trade him for Giannis. You wouldn't trade him for James Harden. That means that you think that this kid is going to be...
He's 20.
He's 20. But, like,
20.
You're talking two of the greatest basketball players right now, and you're saying you wouldn't give either of them up for Tyler?
I wouldn't. For Tyler Hero, it would have been... for instance, for Giannis, it would have been Hero and somebody else. Probably Adebayo, right? For Giannis.
You would assume,
right?
Yeah. Maybe more than that.
It's definitely not a one-for-one. Heroes involved in, included in the package.
You're breaking up your team.
Picks, and maybe another player or two. Yeah.
I don't know, man.
It just seems like with James, there's a whole lot of off-the-court baggage.
And I know that Harden will get bashed of saying, hey, I was in Vegas working out. He probably was. Like, I'm sure.
Probably.
I know that's what he was doing. We also saw what else he was doing.
Right.
And if this article showed you, this is the way he goes about his business, figurative and literal.
And it's not a new thing. He's been doing this for
years.
He's
been terrific.
Yeah.
And you're not that great at basketball unless you put a lot of work into your game.
So,
I know.
That's what I'm saying. He's going to get bashed for that. But again, it's not like when he was partying in Vegas, like that's what he was doing all day, like the hangover. You know what I mean? Like,
he was in the gym, we're sure.
Dude, I'm telling you, just to repeat again, I talked about that one time I did a Thanksgiving morning show hungover. It just was something that got out of control the night before. And when I got through the show, I swore to myself I would never do that again. Never. And it doesn't matter how much fun I'm having or if it was, membership of the NFL being the one pouring. And by the way, fantastic wine. I mean, just, oh my God. The juice was A+. So, but I swore to myself, I shouldn't do it again. I won't do it again. And I can't imagine, being an NBA all-star, elite, world-class player doing this. I as an owner wouldn't want to be on the hook 3 years, $150 million. When all of a sudden somebody's got to knock on the door and get James up because suddenly the rebound figurative doesn't come as easy anymore.
He is only 31, though.
I hear you.
And these guys are different. They're different.
But the one thing that Windhorst said, and then we'll take a break and take phone calls to finish up the show. One thing that Windhorst said is that despite all of what we're talking about, and what people will be up in arms about, and certainly this soundbite will invite, it's going to get done.
Yeah, the deal's happening.
The guy, Windhorst is like, after caveat upon caveat upon caveat and concern upon red flag and concern on top of a red flag times a caveat, oh yeah, it'll get done. Which is why Harden goes to Vegas and Atlanta to work out. Because it all does eventually work out for him.
Right. I'm
just saying I wouldn't want to be the organization to be on the hook the minute the diminishing returns hits and we all realize it's not working out. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.